Good morning, everyone. How you doing? First day back to school here in Argyll, my God. That's a wee bit of a wake-up call to the senses. Realising, right, okay, not only are you getting up, but you've got to get the kids up and get all organised too. So hope everybody's had a fairly calm morning. I don't think the city schools are back yet. Anyway, let's talk about today, the first day of the challenge. I know some people are already on it. I've been kind of doing it myself already to break myself in gently. So intermittent fasting, fast, free, simple way without making any other changes apart from the time that you eat. So it completely depends where you're at in terms of your mental health, your physical health, the busyness of your life. Obviously, most of us will be thinking, right, okay, good morning. Let me use this time to clean up my diet, to clean up my act. But the brilliant thing about this is, even if you don't have the wherewithal, the energy, if you're feeling a bit apathetic, if this festive season's been difficult, or you've been partying hard, or whatever, forget about the quality of the food and change, and just go to the time that you eat. So all we're saying is, if you want to eat something crap, if the craving overtakes you, just eat it within that window. So it's a much, much easier way, instead of saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't eat that, can I eat this, can I eat that? You can eat whatever you want, really. If you want to clean up your diet, then this is a brilliant opportunity to do it. And the message is always more vegetables, more vegetables, more vegetables. And I'm going to be doing a couple of simple videos on slow cooker stew, the air fryer, really quick, healthy things that you can do just with vegetables that you can get right now, and with legumes, pressure cooker, how you can make a soup in 20 minutes. Because I really understand the time thing, and how we can use herbs and spices to make everything just taste delicious. So we're going to be working with helping you with ideas, helping you with different recipes, but it's things that are really cheap and quick to do, and how you can organise your week. Get together with one of your pals and say, I'll make soup on a Monday, you make soup on a Wednesday, or whatever. You keep it in the fridge. It's going to last 2 or 3 days. So you've always got something there healthy to eat. So there's so many tips that you can have to ensure success. And I wrote a list of them the other day. So tomorrow I'm going to be coming on at 9 o'clock to specifically show you some EFT videos, and I'm going to be making some for our channels as well, so that you can go on what is it that causes you to eat crap, what are the triggers, and what is your big crappy thing. The usual ones are wine, chocolate, and bread. These are the ones that usually people do not want to give up. And we'll talk about sugar addiction. Hopefully I'll get my pal Hilary on. She's just come out of a 10-day silence retreat. So it'd be good to get her on to talk about her business, The Sweet Cure, and sugar addiction, and how she managed it, because there are different ways. We don't talk about sugar addiction really, and how it's destroying so many people's lives. And that's something that has to be addressed. Nobody wants to hear it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But not all sugar's dead and destructive. There's loads of sweet things that you can have that are going to feed the body, fats, antioxidants, all the good stuff. So it's not about missing out on treats. It's a change of treats. And, again, with your food, instead of putting a ton of salt and putting herbs and spices in. And, so it's just different ways. A pizza, for example, or if you make your own pizza base, you can have a really delicious, healthy, and put a salad with it, or put some veggies with it. It's not about doing without, it's not about lack. And this is a mentality that we need to get over as we start to understand the power that we have to heal ourselves. And, I met Bruce Parry at Russell Brand's festival. And he was talking about this tribe in Borneo. They don't have doctors or shamans. Guess why? Because they all know how to heal their own bodies. And the thing is that I'm sure a lot of you on this call are already well on that. You understand that you have a power. It's not the knowledge that heals you, it's the behaviours, the actions, and taking that into real practice. And that's why, from the Heal Scotland perspective, that we need a place to teach this. Now, whether I've been thinking about this a lot, obviously, see, Bob Dylan's house went for 4.25 million. Maybe a residential place right now, maybe it's better to get somewhere with just a day centre. Because when I used to volunteer for the Second Chance project, it was just a day centre where people could come all day and then they went home at night. So I'm thinking, give me your ideas. How are we going to do this? How are we going? This is a great way to do it. I mean, I'm amazed at the interest and the uptake in this. Hundreds of people that going, right, okay, which shows you're ready. And trust me, my daughter was in the REH in Paisley for 5 days, and my God, there's just a whole community of people there that are so sick, and we know that poverty and poor health are intrinsically linked. And, that's something we have to look at, because we are literally all connected and all in this together. And is it because people don't know, don't believe, don't understand the power that they have? Or is it just this stuckness of going, I know what I should do, I'm just not doing it? And from my personal experience, when you're around a lot of people that live this, that just know you don't give your kids shite and fizzy juice to drink, it's not good for their biome, it's not good for their mental health, then it's much, much easier. When everybody else is doing it, it's much, much more difficult to pull back and say, sorry, my kids are not putting that, or I am not putting that into my body. So the bearer of good news, you can heal yourself. You can hugely impact your health, your vitality, your energy, but it's only you that can do it. There's no pill that can fix this. It's you have to stand up and take responsibility. And, it doesn't do you any harm to go into hospital and realise, the consequences of not looking after this baby. And we're not talking, living on a vegan diet in a mountainside somewhere. We're just talking about daily, day-to-day maintenance, putting the good stuff in, getting into your community, getting to know everybody. Yeah, Lauren, absolutely. It's a whole other conversation we can have. So keep it simple, and that's what I love about intermittent fasting. That's what I love about cold water. That's what I love about breath work. It's all free. And I'm going to be doing a video on the straw that breaks the camel's back, because when it comes to protocols, people get lost. And when you're ill, if you've been given a scary diagnosis or prognosis, you're not in your highly intelligent state. It's very challenging to take these protocols and do them over and over again, because I'll tell you the other thing you need: patience. Patience, patience, patience with a capital P. And that's, again, what most people just do not have. And I'm talking, I mean, I've been studying this stuff for decades. I'm studying with a doctor in Canada right now, and a whole load of other healers using sound frequencies. But it all comes down to it. What can I do that's easy for me to fit into my daily routine without having to learn to make a lot of things, without having to learn a whole load of new skills, without taking more time? Because the harsh reality is, a lot of people, and especially if you have young children or maybe looking after your adult, your parents, etc., it's very, very challenging to learn new things. And that's what's brilliant about intermittent fasting, is that you just change the time that you eat it. Even if you're having some crap still, don't worry about that in this challenge. Don't beat yourself up for anything else. Just look at the times and go, right, okay, from 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock, there would not be another calorie going to this body, and just do that one challenge. If you're already all over this and you're perfectly capable of making tons of healthy food, and you've got your slow cooker, your pressure cooker, you've got your air fryer, you know that you can make really healthy food in a very short space of time. And I've been gifted a Thermomix, which I've just basically not had any headspace to use yet. So I'm going to be looking at that, and I'll be letting you see how that works. So yeah, there's loads and loads of ways, but if you don't have any money, you don't have any time, and you just don't have the wherewithal to make any changes, this is the one thing that you can do. No food the first hour in the morning, and no food, preferably 3 hours before you go to bed. But two, you're going to get a result. Now, the reason I got into intermittent fasting was my friend said he started doing 12-12. Now, I guarantee you, everybody out there says, I already do that. No, you don't. It's like people that come to me and say, I eat a healthy diet. No, you don't. I can tell by looking at your body. I can tell by looking at my own body when I've let things slip. The body holds the score, whatever the score is. Now, that's not to say that slim people can't be unhealthy, because they can. They can be tired and fatigued and crabby and down as well, every bit as well as people who are carrying a wee bit of extra weight. All of that. So it's how we're going to think on how we feel. What I want to help you identify over this next month is what is emotional eating and what is actual your body screaming for nutrients. And what about your microbiome? What's your microbiome saying? Give me sugar, give me pizza, give me beer, give me wine. These cravings, as we know, very often are coming from the jungle. Let's call it the tummy jungle. The tummy jungle, where in there, all the microbiome. And you can feed the microbiome, but you can also starve it. And guess what? Starving is fast and free. You don't have to do anything apart from not eat. Now, I know that's really terrifying for some people, but if you have no money, no energy, and you need things to change, this is something you can do for free and easy without taxing your brain anymore. So, top tips, like I was going over, get all the white flour and the white sugar out your house if possible. And then your last meal of the day, or if you eat a really good lunch, if you've got time, if your schedule allows that, have a really good lunch and then have your lighter meal later on in the day. But make sure you're full when you're eating. Windows stops, because then you're like that. I'm not hungry. So when I want to pick something up when I'm going through the kitchen, or want to go up and get a bit of toast or whatever it is you want to get, a glass of wine, whatever the thing is that you're trying not to do, then you realise, right, this is up here now. After Christmas and New Year, there could be a wee bit of screaming from the tummy jungle. Give me this, give me this. You've been giving me this every day. That's completely normal. Start to recognise, and I'm going to be doing a lot of work with this over the EFT. Your cravings are very often being transferred from the critters that live within. And this is something that we're just really understanding the science for now, that your emotions and your feelings may not even be yours. And I'm going to do a whole video on parasites and worms and flukes. Nobody really wants to talk about that stuff. But we have to understand that if anybody's travelled in South America, the Caribbean, etc., parasite cleanses, people do them very often, monthly, 3 monthly. But for some unknown reason in the UK, we don't do it, we don't talk about it. We don't know anything about it. Excuse me a second. So there's a whole load of things, whole load of straws affecting the power of the immune system. So we're going to go through them in a really simple to understand way. But this month we're focusing in on when you eat. So that's the most important thing to start with. Then if you're a bit more advanced, then let's start looking at the diversity challenge as well. Let's start getting in with tons and tons of veggies. Now, what more simple way to do that? Buy all your veggies, soak them in apple cider vinegar, and then chop them all up. Put some in your soup and put some in your slow cooker. Put your legumes in, or your bit of meat, or your bit of fish, or your whatever it is you're putting in. It's really simple. You can do it in the morning before you go to work, and then you've got hot, delicious, nutritious food right there. Another thing that makes it quite easy is, and I did this when I was doing keto, is just if you've got a few good recipes, just keep using them. Don't make it complicated. Don't start adding to, I need to do this, I need to. Keep it as simple as possible. One thing at a time. The time, yeah, if you're used to eating really healthy food and a lot of vegetables, etc., then yes, of course, add that in. We're all at different levels of understanding. So what you need to do is just all you want to be doing is improving what you're doing a bit. Okay. So if changing what you're eating is going to be too stressful right now, if somebody else is feeding you, then it's very simple because you can just say, I'm going to have my dinner at 6 o'clock, whatever. Okay. So the other really, really important thing for people that struggle with snacking is having healthy bites in. So I was talking yesterday about protein balls, healthy chocolate. There's loads of healthy stuff now you can buy in the shops. So make sure you've got these snacks in, not for your out with your fasting window, but for in between or that kind of chocolatey, nutty, whatever, sweet bite that you like after you've had your meal. So it's much easier to replace a habit than it is to remove one. So you're just saying, well, instead of that, I'll do that. Now, of course, you could go down a huge rabbit hole with this in terms of what you're going to do in January. January, from a seasonal point of view, is root veggies, hydrated soups and foods, warming foods. Now, it depends where you're watching from, because I know people join us from all over the world. And if you're in Australia, obviously you're in summer. And that hugely matters. The amount of light that you're getting and the temperature of where you're living. Because trust me, um, having moved from Malta to the UK, from Malta to the UK for years and years, in Canada, -30, the amount that I personally eat when I'm not in the sun is, I would say, 3 times more, and I'm not joking. I was over in Malta there in December for a week, and my appetite just went way back down. It's so interesting. So that's what happens with my body. And again, remember, there is no one size fits all. There's people want to come on and contradict me all the time because there's loads of information that this works for one person and this doesn't work for another. And when it comes to fasting, the whole fasting for girls, fasting for hormone balance, so you would change how you're fasting throughout your cycle. I'm not going to go into all of that here. You are a big grown up lady or man, and you can go on and research that for yourself. I'll be putting lots of information into the group, into the event, and on my own page around this next month. And you can watch the podcast and listen and read about what's going to work for you. But here's the main thing that you need to do: tune in and see that sounds interesting. That's your intuition. So you would start, and we'll be doing this with the EFT tomorrow. What would it take for me to find this easy? What would it take for me to cut out the bad habits, to drop the limiting beliefs? What would it take? And as soon as you start asking the right questions, the solutions are going to appear. So you'll be like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that book. Right. She makes sense. Because ultimately that's what's about. What makes sense? So let me just reiterate why intermittent fasting is so powerful, right? One, you're taking control. So instead of just being a totally uncommitted, undisciplined mess, you're saying, right, that's one thing I can do. So taking control, and we know from Kelly Turner's research, that's one of the steps for healing. Then you're giving your body, your immune system, back a huge amount of energy to rest, restore, repair, and heal. So instead of going to bed and the body trying to sleep, digest all the crap, all the stuff, what it's meant to actually be going through your major organs and detoxing them and cleansing them and helping the microbiome repair things, your body's trying to digest food that's probably not even food. So that's another thing. So 80% of your daily energy, give or take, before somebody jumps in and says, oh, it's actually 81%. No, it's a huge amount of your daily energy goes on what? Guess what? Digesting your food. So there's 2 things to think about there. One, the quality of the food, and is it even digestible? And 2, what enzymatic action have you got going on in your digestive system, your microbiome? How healthy and vibrant and alive is your gut to break down whatever it is you've put in, and for the body to extract what it needs before you push out the rest. And that's another big subject, your bowel movements. How is your bowel and your colon behaving? And how can we support that? So that energy that takes to break down 80% of your daily energy. Imagine A, you're putting in food that's not food. B, you've got no enzymes left because you've been killing all your microbiome with alcohol and sugar and stress, which is the emotional side of it. So the body's then got to steal from that 20% that's left. That 20% of daily energy that you've got to do all these other incredible things that you want to do. And then you get bloated, you maybe get pain, discomfort, you get tired, you get down, you need a nap after you've eaten. All of that is completely the body telling you, hello, I'm struggling here. So thank you. I can't see anybody's names on this software I'm using, so I just see Facebook user. But I appreciate all your comments, and I will go into them afterwards. If anybody's got any questions, ping them in the box. Okay, so we're giving the body that energy. So we're saying, right, okay, 3 hours before I go to sleep, I can now, you've got the food's digested, and now you can go into that process of healing. Now, we're doing this for a month, that if you're not well, you need to keep on doing this. The body, we know, can take up to 2 years to heal itself, and sometimes longer. I always tell the story about my knee. I fell and cracked my knee in the ice when had my grandkids on this ice rink 2 years ago, actually, about now. And it's only now that I can kneel on it again. Now, it's not caused me any stress or anything, but think about that. The body was healing that the whole time, but that's how long it took. So if that's how long it's taken my knee, how long is it going to take to really heal the gut? Now, you don't have to wait for 2 years to get to feel better. You can feel better quite quickly, actually, just by deciding you're going to get off your fat arse and make changes. And that's what I've been doing. Just get on with it. I've been resisting going into that loch every day, but I'm just like, you're doing it, dragging myself down with no grace or humility because I'm taking the dog to getting in, making myself do it so that eventually you start to feel better and you start to feel more alive. So you're overriding that lethargy, that apathy, and making yourself do it until the body, so you start to get the energy and go, right, okay, all right, okay, it's working now. Now, for some reason with the neural pathways, if we, and liken it to losing weight, if you've ever gone on a diet, and you'll probably lose a few pounds in the first few weeks, and then you start to feel great, yada, yada, yada. And then you get to your desired weight, your desired energy levels, and then you revert back. And that's because you've not done it long enough for the body to fully understand this is the new way to do it, and changing your lifestyle for good with a little bit of fluctuation for fun, but then getting back on the horse and keeping the body in the right direction. So you have to be thinking the long game. There is no magic pill that you just take and you're better. 5 days of a pill and suddenly you're better again. It's just sadly not the way it works. You think if you're in the fish tank, Jason Vale does a really good visual where the water starts to get manky, the fish start to get slower, things start to grow inside of the tank, and the fish are dying. You don't put pills in to make it better. You cleanse, you refresh the water, hydrogenate and oxygenate the water, and maybe put other plants and things in to help keep the ecosystem in balance. That's your digestive system, your tummy jungle. If you're just thinking, put pills in, put pills in, put pills in, do this, have wine, have a smoke, whatever it is that you're doing to try and make yourself feel better. And I'm not saying don't do that at any time, because we're human, and I think sometimes it's really helpful. But in general, you want to really get a vibrant, alive, living system that's interacting with the outside jungle, with the outside world. Then all of that stuff has to be reined into balance, because we can control how we feel, what we think, etc. Once we really learn and understand this stuff. So you're given taking that 3 hours at night, because that's really usually where people have the biggest issues. And you're given that time to the body. So really understanding that. Why would I go then and put something in that's going to dull my energy, dull my feelings, make me feel shit? All of that stuff. Why would I do that? Because there's a craving there. And that craving can be coming from the microbiome. It can also be emotionally driven. This is what I do. I like to sit down at that time of night. Maybe you've had a really busy day, put on the TV and have my glass of wine and have my packet of crisps or have my toast, whatever it is. And you think there's no harm in that. But the problem is, if you need to heal, you have to make changes. And what changes are you going to make? Keep doing what you're always done. You're going to get what you always got. So I think we're really going through a time where people aren't very resilient, quite weak and pathetic, and I include myself in this. And it's just like that. And that's where really, for me, the cold water recently has been all about my mental health and getting in there and just going, shut up, get your head under there and sort yourself out. Sometimes you have to do that because, and your friends can support you, of course, but sometimes you just have to go, I need to make changes. I do not want to be on that slippery slope of degeneration and dis-ease. No way. I'm not having it. And how can I change it? Well, this is a very simple thing. Stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. It's the one thing. If you can't do anything else, just do that. And if you can do loads of other things, fantastic. So we'll be talking as the month goes on. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about EFT and how we can tap. So ping me your issues. I've seen a lot already. Join the Wellbeing Hub if you've not already joined, and then get in the chat box. There's a chat, and you can ping in your questions in there. You don't just get my opinion, you get whoever else is in there's opinions and personal experiences of what worked for you and what you did. Going to bed early, another top tip. Maybe a great time to introduce some breath work, before you go to sleep, or a meditation, or some nice healing frequencies. I'm going to be talking to you about that because you can have a free trial on amazing quantum healing frequencies, personally tailored for you. We can start to see what's going on in the gut. Is there yeast infections? Is there fungus? Is there parasites? Is there flukes? Is there worms? What is there in there not shouldn't be in there, but if the good army and the bad army get out of balance, how do we feed the good army and stress is the other huge thing, because you can put as much veggies in there as you want, and if you're firing your vagus nerve and sending that adrenaline and cortisol into all your digestive organs over and over again, you're not going to get the result. And this is why, I think when it comes to protocols, and again, I'm going to do another video on this, the straw that breaks the camel's back, and the straw, how many straws do you need to take off the camel's back for the immune system to come back to life? Simply put, how much can you cheat and still heal? If people were very honest, that's the question they would ask me. How many protocols can I do? And this is the challenging thing, because what is the answer to that? Because what are you thinking all day? What are you believing? What are you perceiving? And all of that's affecting your chemistry. So we'll talk about that as well. And, what's your self-esteem like? What's your self-talk? I can't do this. I always struggle. Here's the 2 underlying beliefs for everybody that I've seen that's dieting. They can't believe that they will ever be the desired, dream, beautiful, self-like, energetic version of themselves. They can't believe they'll ever get there. And if they do get there, they'll never be able to stay there. So again, just swap the word weight for health, because it's the same thing in my book. What would it take for me to let go of these limiting beliefs around me, my ability to change? And this is where your tribe comes in. Community and altruism heals, and this is what we're wanting to create with Heal Scotland. We are creating, it's already started. What we can do is support each other in the information, and the information and the education is really important, because then you can go, oh, okay, why would I do that? Right? So you go, why would I do that when I know that's not going to take me where I want to go, i.e., vitality and health, or to drop a stone in weight, or whatever it is, or to, relieve my anxiety, because a lot of anxiety is getting caused by the diet. So why do I keep on doing the things that are taking me the wrong way rather than the right way? And that's where we go into the neural pathways, which are so powerful and strong, the habits and the learned behaviors. So absolutely key to have support, and be honest, because this is another thing people don't like to hear. Liars don't heal. And I'm quoting Carolyn Mace here. You need to be transparent and honest with yourself. No bullshit. Well, I don't really do that. I don't. No, no, no. And this is where journaling can really help. Write down everything that you eat and drink, because then you'll start to see, not for me, for you. So you can be really honest with yourself about your good habits and your bad habits. And then we start going into the mind stuff and into the subconscious. And I'm going to be teaching you different ways to do that. But you have to be 100% ready to drop and be very, very honest with yourself about what you're doing. And do you need help? Are you an addict? Are you addicted to sugar? And it doesn't matter, if you are. Alcohol, a lot of people addicted to alcohol, addicted to wine, addicted to sugar, addicted to the labels and concepts around that they've been given. All sorts. We're all addicts to something. But just acknowledging and recognizing and identifying that, so that you can go, right, okay, I don't want to be in the RH. And that's nothing against that hospital. They do amazing work. But see, there's a whole load of people that are living in that sickness regime. And some people, I could take a stroke tomorrow and be in there, who knows, or a heart attack. It can happen to anyone, but there's a lot of it, 80% of it, they reckon, give or take, where you can have a really huge impact on your health now and your health in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time. Nobody else can do it for you except you. So let me see. Struggling with body pain, but determined to heal myself. Yeah, I'll put a link for the Wellbeing Hub, just like Heal Scotland Wellbeing Hub. It's a group. Pain is a really difficult one, because there's two main ways. One, when you move, you've got pain. Two, when you're not moving, you've got pain. And obviously all the varying degrees of 1 to 10 and how that is. EFT can be super helpful for that, as well as can the Sedona method. Because if you suffer from pain, it's a 7 or an 8 and you can't think of anything else, and you can get it down to a 3. You can go, all right, I can manage this. But also with pain, again, it's that keeping on, alkalize the system, visualize. So powerful to visualize, send the new information through the body into the cells, into the microtubules, call in the field of consciousness to help you. And you might have to do that over and over and over again. And this is where we get tripped up. The focus, the imagination, the visualization, keeping on doing it until you start to get the result. And what happens is a lot of us go, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. Did you? I don't think you tried hard enough, because that's what we do, and we all do it, and I include myself in that. Practice, repetition, and even if it's just a minute to 2 minutes a day. Somebody said to me, oh, you don't go in the water for very long? I was like, no, I go in it for 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Sometimes I stay in longer, not very long. Because if I stay in for 10 minutes, I get the drop, and I don't want that. I want the dump, not the drop. And I know what I do is optimum for me, and I don't talk myself out of it, because if I was to say you need to go and sit in that log for 10 minutes every day, I would stop doing it, because I would hate it even more than I've been hating it the last week. So menopause tips. Yeah, menopause. Majorly looking at fats and hydration, daylight, breath work. There's loads of different things. I mean, again, what's her name? Mindy Phelps got tons of brilliant information. In terms of intermittent fasting, absolutely, it's going to help you with the symptoms. It helps everything because all you're doing is giving the body back energy. So no matter what it needs it for, that's what it's going to benefit. It's going to benefit. As I say, some people will get the benefit faster than others. It totally depends on very often how long you've been feeling crap, or just because you've got to pay a wee bit more attention. So start with the simplest things. Obviously, are breath work, cold water, and intermittent fasting, and more veggies. They're the simple things. But right now, if you're overwhelmed and you're low and you're apathetic and you couldn't care less really, except you would want to be better, but you can't really be bothered doing anything to make you better, just start with this one thing. Don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed. Right. Yeah, and we'll do some stuff on pain. Yes, and of course the Wellbeing Hub, Nourished by Nature, Janice Klein's amazing group. She's really, I mean, she's created a phenomenal tribe. So she's got brilliant protein balls and really nutritional dense things that you can add in for taste and flavour. Um, I struggle with alcohol, if I'm honest. I used to, yeah, yeah. I think alcohol's a whole um, podcast in its own, isn't it? Because one of the big things is actually admitting I am powerless over it, and that's it doesn't matter whether you're saying it's alcohol, whether it's bread, whether I know this sounds ridiculous, but this is the reality. I can't do without bread. I can't live without wine. I can't live without sugar. I can't live without chocolate. This is the stories that we tell ourselves. So we'll be addressing all of that. And, you know, also we were talking about it as well yesterday, the difference between having a red wine and having, say, a good quality gin and tonic or whatever, what other thing, a wee nip of really good quality whiskey. And how really most of the time you don't want that because it's the sugar, right? So I'll do a whole thing on alcohol anyway. Um, right, let me see if there's anything else that I've missed. Yeah, that's somebody saying, I can't see who it is, but I've been working on myself for decades on several levels and still have gotten weight issues. However, I've gradually felt better, and the more commitment and patience I have, I've developed. Yeah, it's an ongoing journey. But you've reminded me though about something else that I want to talk about, and I don't have time to talk about today because I'm gabbing on here. Is the macros and the micros in terms of your diet and your nutrition. I'm teaching my grandchildren this right now. I think it's very, very powerful to know. Some people genuinely don't know why they're storing weight and gaining weight. And I had this argument with this about my son the other over Christmas and New Year. It's about the percentages. He was saying it's straightforward calories in, calories out. And of course, there is an element of that. But the big thing when you get your macro percentages right, the weight will fall off you. And Tim Noakes is where I learned this stuff from. So I'm going to do your macros are your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. And your micros are all your minerals. And they both matter. But again, what we want to do with Heal Scotland is make it simple. I want you to think, I can do that one thing. So don't get all confused with a whole load of other things. Trying to change too many things, especially in January when it's shit enough as it is. Just choose one thing and say, right, let me just even do this for a week and maybe I start adding things in. Maybe you have got time right now and you can go into looking at how you can make your own things. But I would say the bit food share. Get a few of your pals who are doing it as well and say, right, I'll make the soup, I'll make the stew, and I'll just hand it over to you like a supper club. Kirsten and I have been talking about this, for kids as well. And it's a nice thing to do in January. You come over to for your dinner for me on a Monday. we'll go to you on a Tuesday. Make it as easy as possible. We don't want any more stress. We don't want any more things to learn, any more things to do. It's too much right now. Just that one thing. Don't eat too late at night. Stop eating and don't kid yourself on. Well, I started eating at 7, but I actually kind of dragged it out to 8 and, kid on that you're doing it, because this again is about being honest. Be completely honest with yourselves, because you can't lie to them. Because remember, the cells are hanging out. The microtubules, I don't know if you saw my video on that, it's so fascinating. And how consciousness and this electromagnetic field, or whatever you want to call it, this quantum energy, is flowing through us. And how, when you go, I do that, and you don't, the cells will go, lie. And this is why kinesiology works. The body's like that, lie, truth, lie, truth, lie, truth, lie. So the body always knows the truth, and I'm going to show you some good ways to play with that as well. So, when your supplement, you can say, well, does the body need this supplement at this time? And the body will tell you. I know that's maybe a bit of a stretch for people, but it's just information. And the information, when you go into the quantum field, is just there in code. And the body is just code. And the code speaks to the code. That's the simplest way I can put it. Let me see if there's any more. I can't overemphasize the support. So if you have people around you, or your mates that are joining in, or why don't we do this together? Do it that way. It's going to be so much easier. And then you might go, let's go for a walk as well. Oh, let's do this together. Let's go for a duke together. I've never done a duke. I've been talking about it. I understand that getting cold is absolutely a big stretch for some people, but it's fast and it's over and done with quickly. So if you're a Gemini, it's probably going to work for you. How to avoid feeling hungry before bed? Or we just ignore it and go to bed feeling hungry? Another great one, I think that a lot of people, well, this is what I'm saying about when you get your macros right, fats, proteins up. There's 2 different ways that I've found helpful, is to pretty much overeat in your last meal so that you don't want anything else. Now, I'm not saying that's a great idea, but you've got to feel full and satiated so that you absolutely know that you're not hungry. And it's a habit, it's a microbiome, it's emotional, right? So you're identifying what's actually going on here. It's just a thing that I always do and I don't want to stop. And again, herbal tea in the evening. And that can be quite a challenge as well. Get essential oils out, get nice smells, distract yourself. Because remember, when you're trying to break a habit, replace it with something else. And this is a nice time to get the devices out the bedroom at, say, 9 o'clock, and spend that last hour doing some breath work, some meditation, talking to your partner if you have one, listening to a really brilliant podcast, learning something that's going to keep you motivated. All of that you can do. And then EFT, which I'm going to be doing with you tomorrow. Annie Grace wrote the book The Naked Mind and has a podcast, brilliant help with no effort, based on the principles of John Samuel, who wrote Healing Back Pain. Oh, right, I've not heard of that. I love that. I like the sound of it. Carolyn Langland's never heard of it before. Couldn't get the mic to play. I've got no idea about that. Yeah, body pain. Menopause is a big thing as well. I'll do a whole video on that. I'll do a whole podcast on that. I think that's maybe... Yeah, Lauren, you were in the RH too, and massive eye-opener. It's just so... You forget that world's going on. And, it's... and they're so short-staffed, and the stress, really concerns me for the staff as well, how little support, it's... The budgets are getting cut in the wrong places, as we know. But again, you could really... You could really just come out there and chuck yourself in the pond at Duck Bay. But it's like, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to change that? And, I don't know about the volunteer system. I spoke to somebody in the salon who volunteers at the hospital, because I thought, even when I was sitting with my daughter, you just go round and you help other people, because there's no way the nurses have got time to do a lot of the things that make make it different. So maybe we can volunteer more. Anyway, I don't want to put more on you right now. That's a whole other debate. So yeah, so if you've got no more questions on getting started, choosing your window. So choose your window. 12:12. If you think, my God, be honest with yourself. From 7 at night till 7 in the morning, or 8 at night till 8 in the morning. Because see the amount of people, I do that, I do that, I do that. And I'm just like, shut up. Because I know you don't. You think you do, but you don't. And that's where you have to have clarity, and you have to be honest. And then you have to have some commitment and some discipline to break through this apathy that I think a lot of us have been feeling. Going, right, okay, I'm not going to talk any more shit. I'm just going to go on with this. Who's coming to help me? That's it. Come on. Let's do it. Fasting is free. Exactly. I've tried to go to link but can't get in. I don't know what that means. I'll post the links again. I'll put them in the Heal Scotland page, in the event, and in the Wellbeing Hub. And when you go into the Wellbeing Hub, there's a chat there that you can join, ping in your messages, send your recipes, and really support each other. I know the chats can be a wee bit annoying sometimes, because if you miss out, you've missed a thread, but it's still helpful to get other people's opinions, which, it's I'm only giving you what's worked for me and what I've seen work for my clients, but there's loads of other different things that you can do there too. So tomorrow we're going to be doing EFT. Feel free to start off with a window. You might go, I'm going to do 18:6. Try it. And then if you go to 17:7. No, I can't do the sums today. It doesn't matter. Just get your ballpark somewhere. Discover where are you hungrier in the morning? Are you hungrier at night? You'll probably find that habitual grazing is the thing at night. In actual fact, the need for nutrition. Protein and fat will fill you up. Protein balls are great. You can fill them with MCT oil and coconut oil and nuts and seeds and a wee bit of date or something like that in there for sweetness. And they will fill you up. You can have a bulletproof coffee after your meal, which is phenomenal for filling you up. All these tips and more will be working with you. Keep an eye on the event, keep an eye on the chats, stay in the Wellbeing group, and we're always going to have daily loads of different information for you. And if you have like the book Naked Mind and the podcast, please fire your ideas in, because people are going to be getting attracted to different ideas, and different people resonate with different people, and that's why it's a collective. We all have to work with the people that we enjoy working with, that we enjoy listening to. Right, so I've rattled on with that. So if you don't have any more questions right now, if anybody's watching this on replay, no problem, ping me your message, ping your message into the group, and you're going to get loads of great advice and support. But the big thing is, decide. It's happening. I'm doing it. Huge love, and I'll chat soon.